For me, everything exists for the service of something else. And I see my role as a father to service the upbringing and the education and the wisdom that I pour into my son to be a contributor to the world. I am Kenneth Kellogg, and I am playing the father in Blue. Blue is about the joy of a black family in America, celebrating life, but also dealing with the pain of the loss of life in such a way that shouldn't be. The son is taken away. He's shot by a police officer. Police violence is a very prevalent thing in our society today, and this opera grapples with that subject. But I play the father, who is also a police officer, so his role it's conflicted. So one thing that was missing in my preparation for Blue was the psychology of a police officer. I knew what it was like to be a father, but I had no idea and almost didn't want to know what it was like to be a police officer in America. So during the process of Blue, Tazewell Thompson, who wrote the libretto for the piece, often talked about Officer Frank Reilly. Like he was like a reference book on set, oh, Frank said this, or Frank said that. So I was like, I gotta meet Frank, and I got to meet him yesterday. And it was interesting to talk to him and ask specific questions that I couldn't understand from a police officer's perspective.
Well, one of the things that I think I haven't gotten to do is talk to a police officer, so it's great to get your perspective. So when you suit up in the morning, so there's a scene in the opera where I have to get out of civilian clothes and put on a uniform. What's the transition for you from going to dad at home to putting on that uniform? Is there a switch?
It can be, because what you're doing is it's like, okay, you might have to make an arrest tonight. You might have to use some force. So you're putting up a guard when you put on that uniform.
As an officer, did you go in the world seeing every little problem? Where does the humanity come in? Is there a humanity in policing even?
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, and it should be. Because like I said, your job is to actually help people.
Right.
Your job is to serve.
Yeah. But that wasn't the policing I had in my neighborhood.
Right.
So in approaching the role, I started to think more as a dad.
So 5 years ago, when my wife and I found out we were having a boy, my world changed. My perspective of the world changed. So my mission became to change the world. I felt like opera was a privilege, and it wasn't serving what was really stirring in my soul. So I thought about quitting. I thought about quitting opera to be of more service to black bodies in America. And then I got a call from my agent, and I heard the story of Blue. And it was like this lightning bolt just struck through my being. It was exactly what I needed at that point, to be a part of an opera that spoke to issues that were really stirring in my soul. So from that moment on, Blue became a mission for me. I knew that it was a story that I needed to tell because it mirrored my life in so many ways.
This street has so much influence on my life.
You're from D.C.
Yeah.
You're an actual Washingtonian.
When I say I'm from D.C., I don't mean Maryland or Virginia.
Oh, to Virginia. What does it feel like for you right now, being back here? Does it bring up memories?
It does. A lot of good memories and a lot of horrible memories. I've seen, people, friends, shot and killed on these streets.
Oh my gosh.
There's one incident I'll never, ever forget. It was one summer night. Summer nights in D.C., city nights, kids are out playing. And, someone got shot. There was a guy on the sidewalk.
Jeez, oh Pete.
Shot. And my mom made me watch. She's like, you need to see, the possibilities. You need to know the possibilities. And I'll never forget it. So this is my neighborhood. We're gonna turn right here. Wow. So that was my house, 618, right there.
Right there.
Yep.
There's this weird thing I have, and why family is so important to me, is that this was my grandparents' home, You know, when my mom separated, she came to live at home and she never remarried. So I grew up in this house with my grandparents.
You know what? I can already tell you're a excellent dad.
Oh.
I have so much respect for you. No, really.
I love being a dad.
Well,
Love
you know why? Because you saw the fact that your dad wasn't involved, and you're like, no, that's not going to happen with me.
Yeah. I was terrified of being a dad for that fact, because I didn't have a father growing up. Yeah, being a dad is probably one of the most important responsibilities to me. Knowing that you're bringing a boy, which eventually become a man, into the world, like I know what it's like to be a black man in America, so I know what he's gonna have to deal with. When I was childless, existing in the world was, it's a selfish thing. You don't think really beyond yourself. But becoming a father and realizing that life is fragile and it has no direction, and you are the direction for that life when it can't fend for itself. I looked around and realized that the world wasn't safe for my son. So I imagined how I was able to get into the role. Choosing to be a police officer, you want to do something to make the world a better place. And as a father, I felt like I was on the front lines of a purpose to make the world a better place for the sake of my son, who will eventually go into the world and have to, be a contributor to everything that happens in the world. For me, trying to dive into Blue, for me, a police officer, the reason to be a police officer is to want to better your community. That's the only way I could get into it. And with that,
To help people.
to help people. And with that, I found some level of comfort with dealing with police officers. I know you're here to serve. I know you're here to help. And I try to have that mentality now, despite all of my, my training with police officers.
So approaching, this whole police officer mentality, I imagine your son, seeing, the news every day. How do you deal with that generationally as a police officer?
First and foremost, listen.
Yeah.
Listen. Open your mind, open your ears, and listen. Listen to people's concerns.
To hear the care that he developed for making the world a better place. I was easily able to understand that as an actor. You rarely get to be yourself in opera. Even when acting, you can step outside of yourself to portray a certain role. Blue parallels Black life so much that it's difficult to step out of those shoes and portray someone else, because you are portraying so many people that you know. You are portraying yourself often in this piece that you can't divorce the emotions from it. So the first time I had to do the funeral scene, I literally broke down to my knees. I got the first word out and I couldn't get anything else out because emotions just overflowed, because it literally was facing my worst fear. So every day after rehearsals, I would go home and just sit quietly and hug my son and appreciate every aspect of his being that I could. And I think Blue slows down time a little bit and forces us to empathize with a pain that, a huge part of the world is dealing with.